got a D-Stacks beat?
Yeah, I got a D-Stacks beat. Listen to the beat, y'all. Come on, D-Stacks, bring it in. Hey, 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 hey. Woo! Queens on the roll. Ooh, queens on the roll. Powerful queens on the roll. Beautiful queens, queens, queens on the roll. We're moving, we're grooving, we're jamming, we're slamming. Queens on the roll. We're moving, we're grooving, we're jamming, we're slamming. Queens, queens, queens on the roll. She's educated and inspiring everyone that has challenges. Queens, queens, queens on the roll. She's educated and inspiring everyone and having fun. She's queens on a roll. Woo, queens on a roll. Ooh, queen on a roll. Powerful queens on a roll. Beautiful queens on a roll. Come roll with us. Ooh, come roll with us. Come roll with us. Ooh, come roll with us. Ooh, queen on a roll. Ooh, queen on a roll. Ooh, queen.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Queens on the Road podcast. This is Latavia here, and I have Miss Doretha here with me today. Hi, Miss Doretha. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine as well. So today I asked you to come on the podcast because I want everyone to know how you defied the odds, and I just wanted to share your story with the world. Are you ready to roll?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's roll.
You got a D-Stacks beat? D-Stacks beat? D-Stacks beat? D-Stacks
So, Miss Doretha, how did you defy the odds?
Well, Tavia, that is a really big question because defying for me means a lot. This is the story. It was during the pandemic, and you know how in the pandemic, the news and everybody else had people scared about going out and staying away from people and not having people breathe on you and not having people come close to you or talk around you, you know, and how people were getting sick. And then they were telling people about underlying issues and what to look for and what to stay away from. And if you had this and if you had that, they wanted you to stay away from people so that you don't get sick. So me, I think I fell into the category of everything that came under the sun when they were talking about being sick and how your sickness and your illness could make you sicker and you could die from it. People were dying from it. So I was already feeling sick already because I had diabetes and I had high blood pressure, and I didn't want to go out into the air with people. I didn't want to be around no one. I didn't want nobody coming to my house. I didn't even want my family coming to my house. Nobody did I want coming to my house because I was scared that anybody might have had this pandemic disease. That's what I called it, the pandemic disease.
Wow. And you know what, Miss Doretha? I am so sure so many people can relate to that feeling of being so scared to contract the disease that they kind of isolate themselves from everyone in the outside world because of the fear. So I thank you so much for sharing that.
Now, I'm in my house, and I'm not going to tell you that I was always feeling great because I've never always felt great. It begins to take a toll on you, and then sometimes you say, well, you know what? I'm just feeling a little weak. I'm just going to relax myself. I'm not going to do anything. Well, this kept happening day after day in, day after day. I got weaker, tired, and more tired and more tired. And I was sleeping. Sometimes I would sleep for more than days. And this is why I love my pet, because my pet sometimes I think saved my life, because my pet would nudge me and start crying for me to wake up, and when I wake up, it'd be like 2 or 3 days later.
Wow.
And I sometimes be like, oh man, I never, called nobody and told anybody how I was feeling. My brothers and them, they'll call me on the phone and say, hey, you okay? And I would always say yes, because I wanted to hide it from everybody. Didn't want nobody to know how I really was doing, because again, I'm going to say I was scared because of this pandemic and what they were saying was going around in the air. So I was petrified. And one morning I woke up and I couldn't see. And when I woke up and couldn't see, I didn't do like a normal person would do, is get panicky and run out and run to the hospital, call emergency. I didn't do that. What I did was, I sat down and I was like, oh man, maybe something's just wrong with me. Maybe I need to go back and rest my eyes and try to rub my eyes and see if my eyesight would come back. Well, I did this for like 15, 20 minutes. And I did that and I kept saying, okay, let me adjust my eyes, let me adjust myself. And I adjusted myself. Now I'm up because now I have the full attention of my own self, because I'm up and I'm thinking, what's going on with me? I can't see. And I was a little upset, but still I didn't want to panic. I didn't want to call nobody. And that was the bottom line. And I wasn't going to call nobody. And I did this for almost 2 months and a half. Walked around outside, blind. And when I say blind, I mean exactly what I mean. All I could see was black and gray. And sometimes not even gray, just black.
Wow.
And not even, sometimes everybody would be in a checkedy color, or not even a checkedy color. It would just be like you see on the TV in black and white. It was a black and white, but had a fuzzy line run through your screen, and you get that zzz sound, and there's nothing there. And being that I know there's nothing there, but I know there's something there, because I always said that I had tunnel vision, because I go and do what I needed to do and come back straight home. If I needed to run somewhere, I get in the cab and tell the cab where I'm going. I know where I'm going, and I go there and I come right back. And nobody was ever the wiser on how I was feeling, until one day I didn't answer the phone for 2 days, and my brother came and almost took the door off the hinges, because he was knocking down the door. And when I got up, I was like, hey, what you doing here? He was like, yo, he said, sister, he said, I've been knocking on this door. We've been calling, nobody answered. And when I opened up the door and he looked at me, my own brother started to cry. He was like, sis, what's going on? Are you okay? And I said, I'm fine. Now, mind you, I can't even see myself. I don't know what I look like. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. He's like, no, man, you're losing too much weight and you broke out with things. And I don't know what's going on with your arms, with your face, with your body. Everything is small. Could you go to the hospital? I said, no, because they say stay away from the hospitals. If you're not really sick, stay away from the hospital. I said, I'm not sick. He said, yeah, man. He said, this constitutes you being sick, sis. You're losing weight. There's something wrong with you. And at this point, I still didn't even tell my brother that I couldn't even see him.
Wow. You did everything from memory?
I did everything from memory. I didn't ask nobody to help me do anything. When it was time for me to dial a phone, I would go to the phone and put the talk to text on the phone.
Right.
This is how I would do it. I would put the talk to text and hit the button on the phone and let the phone dial the numbers that I had to dial. These are the things that I was doing to myself without getting help.
Right.
So then when I finally went into the hospital, they do the regular routine checkup with your mouth and breathe in, and they take the scope and they look in your eyes. When he looked at my eyes, he was like, Miss Mack. And I said, yeah. He said, can you see me? And I said, no. He said, are you sure? I said, I'm sure. He said, I know. He said, because your eyes are fully covered. We need to do a scan and see what's going on. He said, how long has it been since you've seen? I told him, I said, Doc, well, it's been at least 2 months. I've not, really seen somebody. I've been inside the house because of the pandemic, and they tell you you to stay away from people. He said, Miss Mac, you should have came in here. And I said, yeah, I know. You get scared about this and about that, and you just don't want to be around people. And that's how I was. I was living in a shell within myself,
Right.
not counting on the faith that I was supposed to have had. Not believing in God like I was supposed to. You know, God gives us the senses to do what's right, even when it's concerning our bodies. We're still supposed to do what's right. And I didn't do that. You understand?
Yeah, but I think it's understandable because the COVID had us in this paralyzed state where it's like, oh no, I can't be around this one because I don't want to catch COVID. Because I do have a disability myself, I didn't want to catch COVID. So I was very selective about who I had over, and we didn't have anybody over. Nobody was coming in the house. And the only time that I was able to hang out was when they said the numbers were going down in the summertime and you can hang out outside. My mom said you can have a few friends over to hang out outside, but they better not darken the doors. So it put people in this paralyzed fear. So I could definitely understand how you were feeling and like, nope, I'm not going to the hospital because COVID's in the hospital.
Yeah, I guess it was something that I was going through, you know, with the fear. Sometimes I get scared about being around people. I get scared about people breathing on me. I get scared about people coming close to me. I get scared about people touching me. I get paranoid about certain stuff like that, you know? And so when the doctor says, can I just keep you here for like a day? And I said, okay, I don't mind you keeping me here for a day. I said, but I'm going home, right? He's like, yeah, but he hesitated when he said, yeah, right? So then he says, well, we're just going to do a routine check on you and stuff like that. And our nurse came back. And when they came back this time, it was like a bunch of them, you know? They came back. They was like, Miss Mac, how do you feel? And I said, I feel fine. They was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I feel fine. They was like, no, I don't think you feel fine, Miss Mac. You only have like 1% magnesium in your body. Do you know that you could die?
What?
I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, there's only 1% of magnesium. You have no magnesium. You have no calcium. You have nothing in your body to really ward away the things for you to have a stroke, to have a heart attack. You have zero in your body, and you got to really stay here so that we can help you. They immediately put me on a hot floor to monitor me. They didn't want me to move. They didn't want me to get up out of my bed. They didn't want me to be overexerted. They didn't want me to do anything. They just wanted me to lay there and let them pour the bags and bags and bags of magnesium that they were giving me. And they would give me magnesium I think it was like every 4 hours. After they give me a little bag, then they'll come back and they'll give me another bag. Then after they gave me that bag, they'll come back and give me another bag. And I used to say, well, why you keep giving me all of this stuff? I don't need this stuff. This is not for me. It's like, no, this is for you because you could stand up and you could pass out. Like you could die. And I'm sitting there like, oh, okay. Cause it took me a while to really like think about it. I'm like, wow, I could have like died the whole time I was in my house. Then the eye specialist, which they had to have an eye specialist to come in, and the eye doctor said to me, how long has this happened to you? And I said, well, it's been about 2 months since I've been actually, you know, seeing people or actually seeing it. She said to me, she said, you took this long to come in? I said, no, honestly speaking, doc, I wasn't even going to come in if my brother hadn't made me. I probably would have laid in my bed and died and would drifted off to sleep. And she said, I'm glad you came. She said, you had a stroke in your eyes, Miss Max. She said, I'm really like flabbergasted. She's amazed how I'm still able to like sit there, talk to her, be up like nothing is going on. Yeah. In my mind, I'm scared because everything is running through my mind like this is crazy. Like this cannot be happening. You know, I'm saying I'm blind. I may go blind forever. So for them to hit me with the double, I can't see, with the stroke and with the kidney disease. So that's really when my faith started to come into action for me and for me to pull from that strength. Cause they said, well, we're going to do emergency dialysis because your kidneys, they're not functioning at all. And she's like, how many times did you go to the bathroom and stuff? And I'm like, oh, I use the bathroom, which I'm lying, which I wasn't going to the bathroom regularly like I was supposed to, but I didn't feel like I needed to tell the doctor that. You know what I'm saying?
Why didn't you feel like you needed to tell her?
Because at that point it was my business. I didn't want the doctor in my business. Like, listen, this is my body. I know when I go to the bathroom, and if I'm doing a number 2 versus a number 1, then I'm fine. You know what I mean? And I don't want to stay in the hospital. I'm pretty sure the doctor was just looking at me like I really need help. So, you know what? At this point, you know, when they told me I had to do emergency dialysis, I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know how I reacted. I think I broke down and I cried by myself, sitting down on that bed.
And you know what, Miss Doretha? That feeling is totally understandable. Sometimes life hits us like a bowling ball and we don't know how we're going to make it through, right? But we have to trust in the universe, a higher power, God, Allah, whoever you believe in, that He is going to get us through. But I can totally understand that feeling of, Dad, I just got over this hurdle. Now you're putting another hurdle in front of me. I don't know how I'm going to make it through. But what else happened? You have me on the edge of my seat with this story.
And then when the head nephrologist came in and he said, Miss Mack, and I said, yeah, I was sitting on the side of the bed. And he said, you can't be Miss Mack. I said, yes, I am. He said, Miss Mack, he said, now I'm going to tell you, by the looks in your file, the way I read your file, and to come here and to see you sitting up on the side of the bed, I don't even know what to say to you. He said, I read your medical history and your medical file, and he said, this is not normal. Like for you to be sitting here, this is not something that you should be doing. That's what he said to me. I said, God works, doesn't he?
Right. Right.
So I was like, so what does that mean, Doc? Does that mean I can go home? He said, no. You're a long way from going home right now. They held me in the hospital for like a month and a half.
Wow.
It was like a month and a half by the time I got out the hospital. I wanted to just go home, but I guess that month, sitting there laying in that bed, listening to what all the doctors had to say. And I was laying in that bed, with no eyesight. And the nurse came in, which was real funny. She came in and she said, oh, Miss Mack, because of the pandemic, we're going to turn it. The TVs are free. I said, I don't know why you turn on the TV. I can't see it. She said, oh, Miss Mack, just listen to the TV, right? And I said, yeah, okay, right. But when she turned on the TV, for that split second, it looked like my vision went in and it went back out. And then I heard the Lord speak to me. The same way I turned that TV on, the same way I could turn your eyesight back on. So you got to remember who you believe in and know the faith, and you got to act on it and know that God is able to do a lot of things for you. And at that time, I wasn't focused on the spiritual things of who God is in my life. I wasn't focused on that. The only thing that I was focused on was, man, how long do I gotta live? What if I never see again? What if I could never go no place else again? Do I want to be a burden on anybody, or my husband, or anybody? No, I didn't want to do that. Oh man, I said my livelihood is about to be taken from me. And my livelihood for me is working. Being able to get out and drive a car and seeing the sight. Cause that's the one thing I love to do, was get out into the street and just drive around and see people and see nature and stuff like that. That was my thing. I love to do that. And I still love to get on the road and just drive.
Right. Put everything into perspective for you. Like, I could have lost it all.
Yeah.
I think when we become way down with all the medical terminology and everything that happens medically, we forget that, we serve a higher power, and we forget our faith and we forget to hold on to it because everything just seems so big and out of order,
Yes.
It doesn't feel like you can handle it.
Yes, correct.
How did you feel when you began to sit back and think about everything you might not be able to do? What was that feeling like?
It put me in a depressed state. I was giving my own self a pity party. I was down in the dumps, but I was just asking God to come just take me now, because my body was drained and it was tired. It felt like a heavy truck was just sitting on my shoulder, sitting on my chest, and I couldn't move. My body was so heavy and it was so filled with water that my mind was losing it. I don't know if you can understand when I say, when you overeat and you be like, oh, wow, I'm tired. I felt like that and then some, because it felt like that everything was just simply just crushing, and stifling. And it just taking it away bit by bit, taking a breath here, taking a breath there, taking a breath here. I felt it. I was willing myself to do it.
Right. I think what you felt is so normal though, because you were so independent and you were used to doing things on your own. And now you had to sit back and think like all of that could be taken away. So I definitely can understand why you would feel that way. I can definitely understand that. And I think the reason why you felt so tired, because my grandmother had kidney disease as well, is that when your body begins to fill up with that fluid, they say like you become very lethargic, very sleepy, and you can't really move, and it's all that water on your body. It's like literally weighing you down.
Exactly. And that's how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. I'm thankful to God. I'm telling you, I've had these symptoms for a while.
Story time.
Me and my nephews were in a car going down south to pick up grandma, and I said I wanted to ride with them, and it was like, Auntie, can you drive? I said, yeah, I can drive. Don't worry about that. I'm okay. Which I was sick then, but I wanted to go. And when we got to Virginia, I couldn't breathe. I thought it was a panic attack. They stopped the car on the highway, called the ambulance. And when the ambulance got there, they did the check. They said, oh, you're just having a panic attack. I'm like, a panic attack? I said, I've never had a panic attack. I don't know what you're talking about because I don't have panic attack. I was like, you sure? I said, cause you checked my sugar. Oh, your sugar is fine. I'm looking at them like, my sugar is fine. Are you sure my diabetes is fine? She's like, your sugar is normal. So I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it is a panic attack. And then I told the kids, I said, just do me a favor. I said, stop to the nearest gas station and get me a Tylenol PM so that I could sleep. Because if I go to sleep, I'm not going to have to worry about anything else. So then we still went down south because they asked if they wanted me to turn around. I said, no, don't turn around. Just keep going. They said, are you sure? I said, I'm sure. I'm not going to stop at the hospital or nothing. I'll go to the hospital when I come home. I didn't even go to the hospital when I came home.
You got a D-Stacks beat?
Why did you avoid it for so long? Was it just the pandemic or you just didn't want to know?
I just don't like going to the hospital because I've been struggling with this diabetes for as long as I can remember. And every time I go with the diabetes, the doctor always tell me to go to the hospital and I never come home. And I said to myself, if I go to this doctor and this doctor tell me I got to stay, what you going to do then, Doretha? How you going to pay your bills then, Doretha? That was my thing. At that time, I was by myself. I didn't have my husband. I'm like, how you going to pay your bills, Doretha, if you in the hospital? You missing days from work. How you going to do that?
Right, but it never dawned on you, like, how can you go to work if you're no longer here?
No, my thing was I'll sleep when I'm dead. And besides that, I work with autistic children. And I had a patient that really counted on me, you know? She counted on me for being there. And I used to make sure, sick or not sick, I used to make sure I was there all the time, even if me and her were just to go to the mall together.
Right. Now I understand why you avoided the doctors more often because you're a caretaker and caretakers tend to neglect themselves and take care of others. But we also got to learn that if you want to caretake for other people, you got to make sure you in tip top shape. You know, we have to definitely shift that mind frame of I got to go to work. I got to take care of my loved ones. I got to take care of people I work for, because if you're not in tip top shape, you're not going to be able to take care of anyone.
Right.
How did it turn out?
Well, it turned out for the better for me. I was losing the weight like I was supposed to. And the best thing that turned out for me was me getting my eyesight back. I was overjoyed, let me tell you. And I went into the hospital before Thanksgiving for the first eye surgery, and the specialist said to me, oh, Miss Mac, I'm going to do the surgery for you, but I'm not going to make any promises that you'll be able to see because you had 2 strokes on your eyes and the cornea and the retinas are damaged. Your eyes are really damaged. And she said, if I can, get you some eyesight back, you'll at least be able to wear corrective lenses. I'm like, listen, I don't care what you do. I guess I got to do what I got to do. I said, you think I'll be able to see? She said, I'm not going to tell you are, and I'm not going to tell you you're not. But she reiterated to me that you had the 2 strokes in your eyes. I'm like, yeah. Go ahead, lady. Keep going. Go ahead with the 2 strokes. You don't got to keep telling me I had 2 strokes. You don't got to keep telling me that. And you had the diabetes and the high blood pressure, not keeping your diabetes under control and not keeping your blood pressure under control. Those are the causes of the stroke. That's the cause of you not being able to see. And I told her, I said, listen, I don't care. I said, Doc, you just go ahead and you do what you got to do. I said, God will do the rest. That's all I could tell you. She said, I'm not going to do both. I'm only going to do one, Miss Mac, because you got to be able to see. And I said to her, okay, well, you do one and I'll wrestle with the other one. And I went in, and a week later, I went back for them to take the coverings off of my eyes. And she said, "Oh, Miss Mac, keep your eye closed. And when I tell you to open up your eyes, you tell me what you see." She said to me, she said, "Hey, Miss Mac, you could open up your eyes." She said to me, she said, "Now you tell me what you see." I opened up my eyes and I started crying immediately. And I said, "I see Jesus and I see you." I ain't tell the doctor I see her first. I said, "Listen, doc, I see Jesus and I see you." And the only thing I could say was, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus." Standing there in that doctor's office. "Thank you, Jesus." And the doctor, she was just looking at me. She said, "Miss Mack, are you okay?" I said, "I can't even begin to tell you how good God is." I said, "My eyesight is back, even if it's just one of them." I went back a month later and they did the next eye. And when she did the next eye, they did the same thing. They did the surgery, and I came back a couple of days later and she said, "I'm going to take this eye bandage off and you tell me what you see." I said, "I see Jesus and I see you now. I see Jesus with both eyes instead of one." Because when God opened up my eyesight, he not only opened up my eyesight in the physical, but in the spiritual mind for me also, because I began to think, if he could give that doctor enough knowledge to fix me, what else can't he do for me?
Exactly. So what did they have to do during the eye surgery?
They went in and they reconstructed the retina and gave me new lenses in my eye. It's just like a cataract surgery, but they went in and they stitched up the cornea in the back of my eye because it was bleeding back there. And then they took and they tied and burned and closed up a socket in the back because it was bleeding too. And then they went in and did the lens correction on my eyeballs itself. So they gave me different lenses for my eyes, and they actually gave me the 20/20 vision back again.
Wow.
Yes.
And look at faith and what belief does in God or your creator. Look at what that does. So he turns it all the way around for you.
Yes, I'm very happy.
How's the kidneys going?
It's a project for me because I'm learning how to deal with it, how to cope with it, how to deal with it. What do I look for? What am I feeling for? It's got a lot of stair steps in stage 4 renal. That's what I have, stage 4 renal. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm okay with it because nobody's ever okay with having to deal with dialysis. I mean, I'm not okay with getting stuck by 2 needles. That's all I'm not okay with because I don't like needles.
My grandma used to say the same thing. I'm tired of getting stuck with those needles.
Yeah. But everything else, I'm coping with a lot of things, and I'm learning to actually not take everything to heart a lot of times. Dealing with this has taught me to calm myself down a little bit more, think about things a little bit more rational, and try to do what's right with what I put into my body.
Right. How long have you been doing dialysis now?
It's been 1.5 years. They say it takes like 2 years, 3 years to get on a transplant list. And I did 1.5 years, and I was able to get on a transplant list 1.5 years early. So I'm already on the transplant list, and I've done a lot of testing already, which I've done everything under the sun that they put your body through rigorous testing and stuff. The only thing I think is wrong with me right now, Tavia, is me putting stuff back into my body that don't belong, like them cakes, cookies, and sweets.
Oh boy.
And when the kidney disease took over, the diabetes left. So what I'm just trying to do is get over this kidney disease and just wait on that transplant list for the next, kidney to come knock on my door or ring my phone.
Right. Your story is just so inspirational, And I'm glad you decided to share it on this podcast so everyone can hear it, because it's definitely inspirational. What's in your future? What do you want to do for your future now that you have a new lease on life?
Well, the next thing that's in my future, you know what? I can't wait to get my kidney because I know God's going to bless me with one so soon. Then after that, I'm going to go on a vacation. How about that?
Ooh, where you want to go?
The vacation of my dreams is down home, back down south. Oh, I'm laughing because then people think, oh, you want to go to Hawaii, you want to go to this place, you want to go that place. I want to go back down south to my mom's house and sit on her porch and put my feet up and take in the good sun. That's my vacation. That's what I like to
I thought you would
do.
have said Hawaii too, or the Bahamas. I was going to say, pack me away.
No, I'm really more of a country girl because I like peace and quiet.
You got a D-Stacks beat? You got a D-Stacks beat? You got a D-Stacks beat?
So now it is time for the quote of the episode. What's one quote that you live by?
The quote that I live by is faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen.
Why do you live by that quote?
Because without my faith, I don't think I would be here.
And I would say that your faith and your belief in God has helped you to defy the odds. So Miss Doretha, I thank you so much for coming on. It was a joy to have you.
It was a joy being here. I had a wonderful time.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed to my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Facebook, and who has been listening to the show. You guys are awesome. Thank you to my Patreon users who have been donating to Queens on a Roll. If you would like to donate to Queens on a Roll, I have a Patreon account. There's 4 tiers up there for you to choose from. I would greatly appreciate it. I love you guys. See you guys next week. And we're rolling out. Bye, Mr.
Yay! Goodbye, Tay. Have a good one.